Bonjour, je m'appelle Chantal Mac Gowan. I'm an English teacher, or if you prefer, an English lecturer, the South African terms at the Nantes School of Design. I've been at the Nantes School of Design since 2008. I teach almost all the students here, and well, I really enjoy being here. What I like most is the type of students I have. These are design students. They tend to be a little bit more laid back than other students. They work really hard. I do get cross with them because sometimes they don't work enough for me. But I think what I like is that one of the questions the students have never asked is where I come from. What I like is that they don't judge me. Well, they judge my skills as an English teacher, maybe sometimes as a person, but they accepted me. I'm part of the school, I'm part of the furniture. I get along quite well with a lot of the students, and I think that's the reason I've been here for so long as well. I was in my fourth year doing an honours degree in French, and my lecturer came up to me and she said, well, would you like to spend a year in France? And I said, oh, why not? It was also a means for me to leave South Africa for 1 year, because it's not always easy finding a scholarship. My lecturer at the time, Nathalie Hendricks, who was at the University of Stellenbosch, and Catherine Dutoit, they told us about this opportunity because there were only 4 of us studying French, and there was a lack of French teachers in South Africa at the time. And while the scholarship existed, and one of the conditions was that we either chose to become French teachers or we studied French literature. And well, for many of us who were 21, 22, it was the opportunity to travel and of course come and live and study and perhaps learn a little bit more about French language and culture. Leaving home in September is the beginning of spring. Coming to France at the end of autumn. That was one of the hardest parts, and even 15 years later, I think the hardest part is the fact that summer is in July and August, and winter is from September to whenever, because the European winters tend to be quite long as well. And Christmas on the beach is the one thing I still miss. And of course my family. What surprised me most is how I was welcomed in France, how people, when I mentioned I was from South Africa, obviously the image South Africa equals Mandela, and the fact that I came from South Africa, many people were very interested in my being here. So I think what I like most about France is that I work to live, I don't live to work anymore. What I learned most in France is the fact that there's a difference between the grandes écoles and the university system. They're both equally good, but they're not quite the same. I learned to fail because I was always used to being one of the best. I was also always used to passing, and I think what I learned most in France was that I had to learn to fail, especially at university. You learn to fail. You learn that things are not easy. What has changed me most is the fact that I've learned to really stand up for myself as well, because that is something I learned in the French culture, to say what I think as well and not be afraid of saying what I think. In the first year, the first 3 months, I was still a newbie, and that started coming slowly but surely as I met French people, and that's what changed me a lot. I've also learned to relax more, to be a little bit less stressed about certain things. What I would advise perhaps many of you is to come to France, come and experience a different education system. That's important. Come and live in a culture that is completely different. I would strongly recommend that. And one of the things I would recommend is learn French before coming. It will help, it will make life a lot easier. The programs are certainly in English in a lot of the schools, and that has changed over the last 15 years that I've been here, so that's something very positive. But if you want to go to the boulangerie, if you want to have your croissants, you need to learn some basic French if you want to just live here. If you've had the opportunity to come and study in France, I'm talking about my present students as well. One of my present students is here at the school. And if you've had an opportunity, if you've enjoyed it, one of my friends came as well. I've made new friends thanks to the new Campus France program. And if you've benefited and if you've had the opportunity to come to France, please post on the website francealumni.fr, francealumni.fr. And if you're a company, do feel free to post any job openings that you have for our ex-students. Believe me, what they will be bringing back from France, it will be a huge benefit, of course, to your company and, of course, to South Africa.